Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and folk of all ages, you know what time it is. It's time for the holidays, holy days, and days of remembrance for the month of May. Alright, Asatru. May is an awesome month. We just followed it up yesterday, May 1st. We had our holiday. We're done and over with. Nope, we're not. Because remember, when the holidays fall on off days, we always move them to the third Saturday of the month. At least that's when most of us celebrate, because we can't celebrate midweek. So let's get down to it. Talk about Sumarmál, or you might know it as May Day, and our Day of Remembrance for John Gibbs Bailey, also known as Hoskuld. Alrighty then. As I alluded to, May 1st is the official day of Sumarmál. It follows Nornanaats, which was the last day of April, and of course we celebrate or observe them on off days. So for May, the general observance day is going to be the third Saturday, May 17th. If you're hanging out at a Hof, you're coming out to Sigerheim, you're going to do it on certain days. Sigerheim's actually is this weekend. We're going to do it this Saturday on the 3rd. If you want to go to any of the Hofs, it's on the 17th. And then I think we've got some folk builders in Gothar around the country going and doing their Sumarmál celebrations on the 10th, the 3rd, the 17th, maybe even the 24th. But you know what it is. So what is Sumarmál? On the heels of Nornanaat, when the cattle were blessed in the smoke of the fire before being sent to their summer fields, we celebrate Sumarmál. Halfway between the spring and summer solstice, Sumarmál is often considered to be the first day of summer. Warmer days are becoming normal. The spring rains that helped to nourish the awakening fields have begun to taper off. The world around us is verdant again. On Sumarmál, big celebrations were held, both to celebrate the end of the harder days of winter and to bless themselves and their crops for a fertile and productive year. Men and women leapt over fires together or alone, wishing for fertility in the coming year. The maypole was raised, and around it, people danced and wove ribbons. Women decorated their windows and doors with flowers and wove them into their hair. Sumarmál is the coming together of men and women to celebrate life. We use this time to celebrate all the good things that we have, all the things that we have worked hard for. We've survived the harsh months when stagnation is so easy a thing to fall into. When the celebration is done, the real hard work begins. The plan that was set into motion at Disathing will now begin the active stage. Those seeds that you planted or that project that you planned at Austra will now need real tending to. Sumarmál marks the beginning. It marks the start of growth. Where one has the will, all things can happen. I absolutely love Sumarmál and all of the stories and traditions from around our community. I was just listening to Witten Fassett talk about at Baldershof. They cut trimmings from the ribbons. The last bits as they wrap it around the pole, those last bits dangling off, they cut those trimmings off. Give those out to prospective young maidens and gentlemen. And from what I've been told, they've got a bit of a hot streak going, and anybody that takes those ribbons home with them has ended up with a little bit of a bun in the oven in the next year or two. Apparently, that hot streak is still going and is unbroken and unblemished. So let's see what we can do. If you're going up to Baldershof, you better be careful, or you might have another mouth to feed. And after Sumarmál, on May 22nd, we celebrate the Day of Remembrance for John Gibbs Bailey, or Hoskuld. He was born May 22nd, 1913, passed away January 1st, 2003, and you may remember him from the story of Stubba last month. John Gibbs Bailey, perhaps better known as Hoskuld, was born on the 22nd of May, 1913. He was an Englishman who, along with Stubba, founded the Odinic Rite and spearheaded the reforging of Asatru in Great Britain. Very little is known about his personal life outside of his clear devotion to the Aesir and his folk. It is said that he founded our gods in the 1930s and immediately recognized that Asatru is meant to be lived and practiced with the rest of our folk. He met John Yole Stubba in the 1950s, and they stayed in touch about Asatru for the next 20 years before founding the precursor to the Odinic Rite in 1973. In these early days of the Odinic Rites is when he adopted the name Hoskuld, which he took from the 10th century Icelandic Gothi Hoskuld Dalakolsson. He also spent his time formalizing the doctrine of the Odinic Rite, as well as 8 of the 9 noble virtues. By the end of the 70s, Hoskuld decided to step out of the public-facing role and let Stubba take the reins, leading the court of Gothar. He instead took on the duties of treasurer and continued to keep his personal life to himself. Beyond this, we know nothing about the remainder of Hoskuld's time in Midgardr. He passed away on January 1st, 2003, right after the 12th day of Yule. While his personal life remains largely a mystery, his impact on the history of Asatru and our folk does not. The very virtues we strive for today were coined by him, and countless Aryan men and women have come home to their native faith in the Aesir because of this alone. The noble people of Britain and beyond were given a chance to reconnect with their ancestors and the divine because of the 70 years of work done by Hoskuld. Hail Hoskuld. That is what we have coming up for May. But y'all know how it is. I can't leave you hanging without plugging some future stuff. And this summer, like every summer in the Asatru Folk Assembly, is popping with stuff and events and just awesomeness. So, first up is Midsummer at Odenshof. Next month, the 4th weekend of June. Get yourself out to California. Get to Odenshof. It is amazing. I was out there last year visiting our folk, hanging out with the McNallans, and just basking in the glory of Odin, witnessing the Freya pole and the god poles around the Sonnenrad altar area, and the mural to Odin, and the great food and community and company. It happened to be the last stop of me completing my first Blotfest, visiting all 4 Hofs and Sigurheim. Get out there, the 4th weekend of June, Midsummer at Odenshof. We'll follow that up in July, 4th weekend, here in Tennessee, Jackson County, Tennessee, just outside Whitleyville at Sigurheim, is Sigurblot. We're going to have an amazing time. Blot to tier. We're going to have some games, competitions, blots, stumble, stories, great food. You're going to see me on the grill. And I'm just going to hang out with the folk, spend time. And if you haven't made it out yet to see the statues we have of the McNallans, it's a pretty cool thing. You'll be amazed at how lifelike those things are. So 4th weekend of July, Tennessee, Sigurheim, come on out for Sigurblot. We're going to follow that up in August. And I told you, summer is packed. June, July, August, Freyfaxi at Baldershof. My first Hof, a wonderful, wonderful folk representing the shining Balder. Baldershof as Freyfaxi is an amazing time. Go hang out with Witten Fassett, Gothi Stam, Gothi Erlandson, and those great, great folk. Give blot to Balder, give blot to Freyr, and just experience what it's like in the Great White North of Minnesota. And we're going to skip a month for September, but then follow that up October, best month out of the year, my birthday month. in October is Winter Nights. This is Winter Nights 14. And this year, just like last year, they're following it up in New Hampshire. Get on out. Go hang out at the homestead of Folkbitter Boardman and just enjoy yourself. Nice, cool weather. What better place could be? What better trip could you plan for this fall than New England? The trees and the leaves are changing colors. The crisp, cool air. Being with your folk around bonfires. And just coming together, worshiping the Aesir, worshiping the Althar and the Disir, with the Witten Eriksson, Gitya Eriksson, all of the folk up there. I have been to Winter Nights a few years ago myself, and it is a wonderful, spooky time. Get on out, y'all. Alright, that's a bit of a recap. We'll, of course, have our Feast of the Einherjar, our Einherjar Blot national event in November as well. We don't quite have the plans for that one yet, so I'll leave that one up in the air for now. But lots of stuff coming on the horizon, y'all. I'm going to stop doing plugs. I'm going to leave y'all to it. Remember, Sumarmál, Day of Remembrance for Hoskuld. Got great stuff coming up this month. And with that, I leave y'all adieu. Hail the Aesir, hail the folk, hail the AFA, and hail victory, y'all. Have a good one.